What's up, world? It's your boss, Internationalzoe. I took my time with this. Not that I almost wasn't going to say anything in regards to the situation in Sosua. First, I didn't want to jump the gun. I didn't want to try and, because it's all just a matter of my opinion anyway. But a few months ago, I gotta say it, I made a video when I was in Lima, Peru. And I said something to the effect, and I'm gonna try and catch the clip and play it here. Eventually, cash gonna get priced out, or places are gonna do something about that type of traveler. So there's an end. All good things come to an end. And I said something to the effect of that. Either that game, and I said the so-called passport bros, and I explained that, even though some people took offense, I explained what I meant by that. And what I meant by that was that the people, to me, if you're really a passport bro, and it's just my opinion, that you should really be traveling. And I don't mean just the countries that have, let's say, sex tourism. And I think some of the guys that are under the banner of passport bro are really just going to the basic 4 countries. And that's it. So that's why I said so-called passport bro, because they're only going to Colombia, Brazil, or they're only going to Medellin, Cartagena, Rio de Janeiro, maybe Sao Paulo, but they're not. Sosua and Pattaya, because people don't really go to, well, maybe they might go to Costa Rica or something, but you know what I mean. They only go into the hot spots. Yes, I go to the hot spots. I've been to the hot spots. But when you have around 40 countries under your resume, it goes way beyond just the hot spots. And I think, not that I consider myself a passport bro, but I consider myself a world traveler. And yes, I go to the hot spots. But it's more to my travel than that. And I said, basically that's why I said end of the road, because I could see it coming. That one, it's gonna get too pricey and people were trying to come at me for that. Or I felt unreasonably pricey, or the country would do something about it. And everybody was like, running the same corny gamut about it's the oldest profession in the world and all this. I don't know who ever said that or whoever made that up, but to me, that's some bullshit. But, if that's what you want to run with and makes you feel good, cool. And there's different variations of that, which leads me to Sosua. And I want to say a few things about Sosua and my thoughts. And I was just there about 4 weeks ago or something, 3 weeks ago, and saw for what it was, and it was on one of my list of played out locations, and I hadn't been in 3 years. And now we know what's happening, just has happened for the last, 3 weeks in advance. In the last video I saw, they were doing like a family day up and down the whole Plajo Casante. They had tables out and vendors out, and it looks totally different. A lot of those places are shut down. And all the tents and vendors are starting at Classicos, right there at Classicos. And there's a few things that I think people didn't touch on. A lot of people touched on the fact that the big business is coming. When I was there, I mentioned the Hard Rock Cafe. They mentioned YouTubers messed it up, and I met some people running with that. And I want to say I've watched quite a few videos, and something that I noticed that I see there's a Dominican guy made a video, and there's Caucasian guys who made a video. And to me, underliningly, which nobody has spoke about this, but I watched, I don't appreciate the way they are directly or indirectly trying to throw black men under the bus. I know that the Dominican dude, all the images he had was like cartoons of black guys dancing around and basically trying to say the black guys messed it up, right? And some of the Caucasian guys are alluding to that too. And that's the part that I don't like. I don't like that part. To me, number one, out of with all these countries, with Colombia, with Dominican Republic, first of all, the guys that are there, we did not create that system. The country created that system. Those things were in place when we came. Now, did it get popular? Yes, it got popular. And did a lot of us come? Yes, we did, but we did not create that system. Those countries had that system in place for their men. Let's say it, CASAs and all that stuff, and thermas and all that stuff was created by the people, the men in those countries. And the men in those countries, for the most part, profit off of owning the clubs and owning the CASAs and owning the thermas and all that other stuff. But yet and still, they want to throw Black Americans under the rug. And trust me, we are definitely not the only ones there, especially when it comes to Rio de Janeiro, Medellin, and Cartagena. We are in large numbers in the Dominican Republic, I think because of the proximity, but let's be honest. There are also a group of whites, Europeans, Germans, Canadians who are there, mostly with the Haitian women in a lot of instances. They got their bars, and they're doing the same thing with the Haitian women. They might be a little low profile. And I think besides the fact that, let me give you an example. I've been in this barber industry for a long time, and I've owned several locations. And most locations, I got the space, I renovated the space, and I opened my doors. But there was one location that I bought from someone. And when I got someone offered me, a real estate agent offered me the opportunity to buy a barbershop that was in a great location. She was my agent with my second shop. But for my third shop, it was somebody who wanted to get out of the business. And she thought I would be a good fit for the business. So she spoke to the landlords, and she offered me the opportunity. So I said, okay, let me go and see the barbershop. So I went to the barbershop, right? And this is what comes when you go into investing. Some of y'all not entrepreneurs, don't have business, might not look at it. I look at things as a business person. So I went to the barbershop, unbeknownst to these brothers that were working in there. I went to get a haircut so I could scope out the place. I could see the location better. I could see the interior better. I could see what the workflow looks like. So I went in there and I got my hair cut as a civilian, just as a walk-in. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know that this place was offered to me. I went in there, I got my hair cut. I looked around. I saw one guy was selling DVDs and tapes and had big suitcases on the chairs where people should have been sitting and smoking in the shop, inside the shop. Cigarettes, not weed, but I went in the bathroom, it was filthy. I looked around. I got an assessment. I actually went there twice before I said, I'll buy it. So I make the deal with the owner, I buy the location. I meet the owner at the location, I give him the check, he gives me the keys. This is after we sign all the paperwork at the agent's office. We go there, he takes the keys from his manager, he gives me the keys and he says, this is your new boss. He did not tell them that he was selling the shop, nor did he had to. He could, but he didn't. So I get the keys and people are like, oh my God, Gus, well, you didn't tell us, And I'm like, listen, pack your things, I'm closing. I need 2 weeks to renovate the place. Now, my shops all had a certain look. Wood floors, awnings, so I needed to make it into my shop, which is levels. So, but I already assessed. I took everybody's number and I said, those people who I'm gonna use, I'll give a call to. So because I went and looked at anybody who's going to invest, basically what I'm saying, is going to go scope out what they're going to invest, right? So I knew who I didn't want to keep. I knew who I thought was professional. I thought had the look and the style that I wanted. And there were some people that I did not give the job to. Now, they were shocked and they wanted to know what I had against them and all that. But they don't know that I saw them in their natural habitat. So when it comes to the DR and what's going on, I agree. Big business is coming in. Hotels, better restaurants, better beach, and so on and so forth. And I believe the people who are going to invest there came down to Sosua or sent scouts to Sosua to do the investigation to see if they want to put millions or hundreds of millions of dollars into this area and what they could do with it. Being that it's on the North Coast, being that it has beautiful beaches, and they saw what goes on there. I don't think, it's not about the men who was there, it was the women. If they remove the women, they remove that activity. And those women were there before I got there. And I will also say, people want to talk about the men and talk about each other and blame other black men and all this. No. The most ratchet part of Sosua are the women. It's not usually the guys. The guys usually dress nice and chill out and eat. Yeah, they're there to enjoy themselves and have fun with them. But the women are the ones dressing ratchet. The women are the ones twerking in the street. The women are the ones grabbing men's private parts and really soliciting you heavy. You don't have to do. And it was like that since the first time I ever went there. Now, I didn't go there in 2020 and all that. The first time I ever went there was 2018, right? But I will say, the most ratchet part of Sosua are the women. So if you want to blame someone for the Sosua's destruction, I would say the women have more, if not just as much as the blame, as the men who were there to enjoy themselves. You know, I can't say I've seen a lot of men acting crazy. There's some people, people are throwing money, but most guys be sitting down, chilling, watching TV, eating, and they pick who they might want to hang out with, and that's it. But the women are the loud ones. The women are grabbing people in the street and running down on people and all that stuff. They dress the most ratchet and they behave the most ratchet. But people want to blame the men. I'm losing the color because the temperature is changing in my background. But I just wanted to say that everybody has touched on a whole bunch of things regarding the Sosua and what's happening. And my take is that, one, the countries are responsible for the behavior. The countries allow the behavior. Now, the behavior has gotten out of control and gotten too popular globally, and it's the country's job to clean it up. Now, everybody said they was running to Medellin, but I saw a video that they just kicked everybody out of Parque Jettas just the other day. So I'm just saying, look at it from a different perspective. Stop blaming each other. Stop talking bad about each other. Stop kicking each other under the bus and allowing other people to kick you under the bus. Because before I ever been to the Dominican Republic, I heard stories about renting people's houses and the man of the house, allowing his daughter to rock with you and cook for you and his wife clean for you. And I heard all these stories about the men and let their girls go and do that to bring back the money to them. So stop blaming everybody else. Dominican Republic has just much to blame about the conditions of Sosua and Punta Cana and anywhere else, just like Colombia. They created the culture. People OD'd on the culture, but none of these foreigners created that culture in these places. The cultures were there already, okay? And it was never created to cater to the tourists or to the black men or whoever is there. They found out about it and they went there to have fun like everybody else. I'm not saying that guys who walk up to women with spy glasses on, talking to them about their business on video and then putting that on YouTube, that's crass to do that, and it is what it is. Now, I'm not saying I never did anything wrong or nothing, but I go to these places and share my experience. I want to show, if the women are beautiful, I want to put them on camera, but at no time I never say, this is what it is, and this is what it cost, and I don't do those type of things. You know what I mean? If you could read between the lines, you could read between the lines. I'm usually put them on camera to show the beauty, but with all respect. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might get a little 360 or something, but that's to the extent. I never talk about what they do, because some of them can be in a life, some of them can't be in a life. And it's never all about that lifestyle for me. I go to a lot of places for a lot of different reasons, but yeah, I enjoy the red zone hotspots as well. So I'm not trying to make myself above or exclude, but I just wanted to point out the fact that I did say that this was going to happen eventually, starting to show signs before that I initially thought. But if you're really looking at things, you should be able to forecast what's going to happen. A lot of people told me I was bugging out. I didn't know what I was talking about, and I'm going next week to the zoo and all this stuff. And to me, it's for the better. These places don't need that black eye, and people have fun, but like I said, all good things come to an end. So if that's all you're traveling for, then maybe you're going to be very disappointed, and so on and so forth. Me, it's 190 something countries. I mean, I travel because I love to travel. I love to see new things, cultures, and all that. So it doesn't matter to me. And I don't rely on that for my relationship with women. I have no problem meeting women and building relationships, genuine relationships, anywhere I go. So that's my 2 cents, and it's a little bit of a different perspective than some of the other videos that I saw. I watched a lot of people's videos, a lot of people's comments. I also spoke to people who live there, people who gave me information on their knowledge of the place too. And I don't want to get into all of that. I just want to roundabout say that I see this indirect attack on the black men who go to these places and have a good time. But, you know what I'm saying, don't try to make us accountable for what the country created. And its countrymen created that system. It was in place when we got there already. It wasn't created for us. Maybe the only place that might have been created for servicemen is places like Angela City, places like Pattaya, Thailand. That was created for servicemen, from the stories that I hear, But these other places, they were already doing that, and their own countrymen indulge in the same type of behavior. So I don't want to hear all that, because we messed it up. And I'm not saying we don't go and show our behinds, because we do. But not all of us. There are a lot of people, not a lot, but I know guys who have real estate in Sosua. They bought properties, they bought condos, they bought beachfronts. So there are other people that they may rent out, or they just chose to move and live in that small beach town. And they'll also be affected. There are black businesses. I mean, there are businesses in general, but there are black businesses that the men who come down there consciously support, such as Roombas, such as flip-flops, and with Treehouse. There was a brotherhood. I think there still is in Sosua, in my opinion. It was not always about the women. Of course, the women was the backdrop, but it was a nice, close beach town to a lot of the East Coast of New York, and they went down there and they had their fun. And but if anybody thought that type of behavior or that type of flow would last forever, I mean, come on, man. It's not the most positive thing. And people are all adults and they can do what they want to do, but it's not the most positive thing for you to want to never change, right? So the fact that the country is finally doing something about it, I think is a good thing. Will people be affected? Yes. As far as the people who live there, who chose to buy real estate there, it's some adjusting, but I'm sure they will be fine. The restaurants, it'll be some adjusting, but I'm sure they'll be fine. But it's not the most positive thing for you to hang your hat on as far as doing business and living in that environment. It's fun and it's, something to do, but, it's I would say it's for the better. And those people who want to take the nah thing, I'm not doing that. And those people who are doing that, I don't think that's cool either. It is what it is, and one thing is constant in this universe is change. And I think it's good change, and people just need to adjust. And I hope all the business owners will be okay, and the people who have real estate. I mean, there was one point in time I was thinking about buying property there, because it's close, and I think once people get over the initial shock, if they keep this going, I think everybody's going to be happier in the long run. I think it's for the better. Honestly, I think it's for the better. So I didn't want to, leave out the entrepreneurs there, the business owners there, and the investors there. I met quite a few brothers who own property there, and have invested in that area of Sosua and Puerto Plata. Internationalzoe. Peace. Love is love, life is life, loyalty is priceless.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?